Hello, and welcome to a new series. I'm going to do a bit of a meta series this time. We're going to be building a website, uh, and the content of this website is actually going to be my new personal website. And I've decided after trying to launch many personal websites and always failing because I've tried to use a new technology or something and then just got sick of it. I'm going to be building this in Django, Wagtail, and Python. So something I'm a little more familiar with, and I'm looking forward to making it happen. And I thought it'd be cool to kind of screencast my project, creation of this project. Maybe not every detail, but kind of here and there as I'm putting it together. And I don't plan on it being overly complicated. I want it to eventually have sort of a slick design, as everyone does. But my real goal is just having a nice way to be always updating content, which is why I like Wagtail. Wagtail is a content management system built on top of Django. It's very powerful and it's very fast, a lot better than WordPress in many ways, which we will see as we go into it. So I've kind of started just a very basic project using a boilerplate that I've used that I've created with a partner of mine. And just to give you an idea of how Wagtail looks, this is the back end of it. It has the idea of pages, but it also has images. Oh, I got logged out. Awesome, we're logged out. It could be because I just disabled my caching. I think we're good. Um, so Wagtail has this idea of pages, has really good editing tools. What you see is what you get kind of editors, as well as a lot more powerful things, including what's called a stream field builder, which you will for sure see throughout this. Images work really well. And they have this really cool concept of what's called focal point. So rather than cropping your images, you never crop an image in Wagtail. You choose kind of like, if this image got cropped randomly, what part do you want to be in focus? So I can kind of be like, I want to make sure this is in focus. And then when you actually render images in Wagtail, you give a width and a height, and it will kind of, at least by default, do sort of like a position cover, like in CSS, so that the image fits whatever size you say, and it will resize accordingly and create what's called a rendition. So the first time you grab it, it's a little bit slower, and then the next time it's cached for, it's saved as its own JPEG in that exact dimension. And what the focal point does is it will, whenever it's cropping and choosing how to crop it, it'll make sure that this point is kind of like in focus and not outside of it. So it's a super sweet tool. I can basically reuse this same source image, in 10 different aspect ratios, and if I was to save this, it'll always keep that part in focus. So that's pretty cool. Also supports documents, PDFs, any kind of file, that kind of stuff. There's also this idea of settings, and you can create your own settings, which some I have, some are built in. But for instance, I've created something called for legal, so I can have my copyright and whatever else, which I can choose to render wherever I want. Also, I have like settings for my social media pages, that kind of stuff. So that's, there's a lot more to Wagtail than that. It also supports things like um, you can see publish history, so I can look at the history of all the things that happen on my page and actually revert back to an older version if I decided it wasn't good. There's also previewing, so you can work on your live website and save as drafts and actually kind of like publish secretly where only you can see it. That and so much more. So let's dig into it. I've kind of made a little bit of a plan. This is kind of like my sitemap that I'm thinking, I'm going to have a homepage, obviously, something that's just about me. I want to have kind of a list of, I want to have like, my videos, my YouTube videos, essentially broken into different series, portfolio, different projects I want to show off. Ultimately, a blog where I can write about whatever the hell I want, and a contact page. And I've kind of started creating what page templates I need. Wagtail has this idea of you could just in theory build a whole site with just one page template and change the content in all of them and create kind of whatever you want. But this allows you to create, for video series listing page, I'm going to have a different type of content. So I'm going to want the admin to be configured differently than, for instance, my contact page. So just to give you an idea, let's do some stuff here. So let's start real simple, and we're going to create this. And I don't have it in here, but let's have a page. Actually, what we're going to do, rather than having an about template, and probably not even won't need a contact template. And in fact, I'm not even need a home template. I think we're just going to create like I'm just going to call it a flex template. And this will be one where we can essentially do more or less whatever we want. So in my pages folder, I am going to actually create a new, the way the pages work, each page template is a different type of, is a different Django app. So I can very easily create one just by, if I go into my pages folder and Python manage dot, or I guess, sorry, I want to do it from here. Python manage.py start app pages slash, and we'll just call it flex. And I forgot to activate in this tab my environment, source v env bin activate. Pages flex is not a valid name. Okay, maybe I do have to do it from inside that folder. So let's just go python dot slash manage dot py start app flex, and that put it in the right spot. So this is flex. There we go. We have a new app. Now looking at one of my example ones would be helpful. So just to kind of show you how you create a page, you create a class just like in it's a model, but it extends something called page. And page is basically something built into Wagtail. And it is really just a model with a bunch of fun extra stuff on it, such as it already has a title by default. It has stuff for like your slug, all those kind of things. And you essentially define different properties. So these are just like these are just different fields, like when you're creating properties of a model. And then you create your content panels. You usually want to extend the built-in ones so that you have, the title and the ones that are there. But then you create your own, and you can define like what type of field it is. So I'm just going to put this over here and open up my new page. And we're going to call this flex page, and it's going to extend page. So we need to import that from wagtail.core.models import page. Now I do have my lovely GitHub Copilot turned on for this project. And if it starts to get annoying and unwieldy, we will disable it. But this is fine. So the template, we want to put it pages slash, and we're going to call this pages slash flex page. And what did I do in my example? Templates, pages, yeah. Flex page, page underscore flex is the convention I'm using. You can do whatever you want. Now, the way it works is inside this folder, I do want to make a folder called templates. And inside here, I make another folder called pages, just in case we have multiple types of templates. And then we'll call this page flex.html. Okay, so we're off to a good start. Let us save this, save my plan, and let's open up the page example. So what we want to do first is, I'm copying this over. This just goes extend base because I have a base.html, which is kind of like my core template. And this is not a Wagtail specific thing. This is just Django templates. I want to extend my base so that I don't have to rewrite my header and footer and all that kind of stuff. Also, this right here, we can set the body class to, we would want to call this page flex. That way in CSS, we can style things scoped specifically to this. And in my, let's just copy this too. And we will just get rid of this stuff, but we'll keep that. And I'm just going to go test 1, 2, 3, just to see if stuff kind of works once we have this. Okay, so we have a template, page flex, cool. What else is in here? We need to give it, I'm going to just skip that right now and just do content panels equals page.content panels plus, and I'll just make an empty array. There will be things in there at some point, and we will make meta verbose name name equals, look at that. This autocomplete stuff is pretty good so far. Okay, so we have that. Now we do have to go into our in our base settings. Now I have my settings broken down a little bit more in all these like separate files and stuff like that. So, but you would find this in your main settings file if you were building something similar. And I just want to go pages.flex.apps.flexconfig. Oh my gosh. Okay, I can type, I swear. So that will just allow that app to be installed. Then we will go back here. I'm also just gonna make a little more room. Python manage.py make migrations. There we go. We do have a little bit of a problem here. What did I mess up? pages.flex.apps.apps.flexconfig. Okay. Cannot import flex check at pages at. Cannot import flex. What did I do wrong here? What did we do wrong? I realized I had this configured wrong because we're in the submodule of pages. We need to write pages.flex in our config. And hopefully, oh, we have an error in a template. Where did that happen? Models flex, template equal, oh, I forgot an equal sign. That's fun. And pages is not defined. Yep, we're just making errors all around. Okay, let's make migrations. And that essentially generates the migrations here. That is just the initial out migration that sets up this new model. And we will, of course, migrate that. Cool. So now, if I was, just for purpose of example, to create a child page, I'm getting logged out. You'll see we have this new example of flex page, which right now, all it has is a title. We're going to want to definitely have some more things. So let's do that. A flex page, the idea is we're going to use something, we're not going to create a bunch of different properties. We're essentially just going to have something called body. And body is actually going to be what's called a stream field in Wagtail. Now, Wagtail stream field. This is one of the coolest features of Wagtail. And we'll just look at it real quick. I actually just want to see it. Let's just go to Wagtail. I just like how they show it on their website. Oh, see the features. Stream field. So, oh, it's a video. I'm not going to play it right now because the audio won't even come through. But essentially, it's a way that you can kind of really fluidly make create content in sort of like a different order, like have text, have then an image, have a heading, then have another image, that kind of stuff. So in order to do that, we are going to, instead of just creating like a text field or something like that, we are creating what's called a stream field. Now I need to import that, and that comes from wagtail.core.fields import stream field. Look at that, stream field. So now we have stream field here, and inside stream field we actually we tell it what kind of blocks do we want to have. So I have something called blocks. Blocks.py just inside my common folder. And right now we only have this one kind of block right now. So we'll just like work with this for now. So this would be like, obviously it's a person block. So if you're putting people on your website, which is something we are not going to do. So this will get removed. This is just part of my boilerplate. But I'm going to work with this just to demonstrate how it can work. So we want to go from common.blocks import person block. And I believe this takes an array of blocks. Sorry, it's not an array, it's actually a tuple. So it is like that, and then we actually give it a name. So I'll just call this person, and then you put in the type of block, and like this, you have to execute it. All right. So now we have the stream field, and then in our content panels, so this is kind of like what drives the database side of things, and this is what drives the CMS. So we actually want to use a stream, what's called a stream field panel here, and we want to pass in the name. So this name right here should be corresponding to that. Now we do have to import stream field panel, and that comes from wagtail.admin.edit handlers. There we go. And we'll keep field panel. Oh, no, we're not going to need it. We're not going to need it. Okay, let's just fix our orders. I like to have, and this is kind of common in Python, you have all your, first you would have things like import OS, system ones, then you have all your third-party ones, and then you have your own. And I like to kind of have a space between that. There's no system ones, so we're just going to have the two. Okay, so we'll save that. And I'm using Black, Python Black, which kind of does some auto formatting for me, super handy. So let's make more migrations. And okay, it's telling me that we need a default thing. So I realize we should actually allow our body to be blank. And we can do that just by null equals true, and I think blank equals true. And we will go and actually run the migration. Go back here. Now, if we reset, now I got to figure out, I'm going to figure that out right now. I'm going to pause and figure out why I keep getting signed out. Okay, I think maybe I have solved this issue. I put in this key in my settings, session cookie age, and made it 7 days, 24 times 60 times 60 times 7. I don't know if it worked yet, but we'll see if we get signed out. Let's find out. So far, so good. So we'll just keep going. Okay, what did we run last? I can, in my terminal, write history and just make sure that, yeah, we migrated after making those migrations. Okay, so going back now, I'm going to actually delete my home page. I won't delete it yet, but I'm going to go to the root. I'm going to add a child page. I'm going to choose flex page, and I'm just going to call it home. And you'll see I have in my body a stream block. This is basically where I can choose different content types. We only have one right now, but let's just make it for source of learning. First name, last name. We can choose an image, and I'm just going to choose this image I already have uploaded. And let's just grab some lorem ipsum here. This rich text editor is pretty nice because you can, of course, bold and italic things and headings and whatever, but you can also embed like inline images, that kind of stuff. We'll just keep it like that for now and publish. And I'm going to go to my site settings. You can actually in Wagtail host multiple sites, which is kind of cool. And we're going to go here and change this to use my new homepage that I just made and go save. And hopefully if we come back here now, we'll see it is right here. And what we have this, back to my pages, home, edit. Okay. Oh, right. Now, in order to make use of that stream film, let's just close everything here. We have to go to our flex page because all we did was test 1, 2, 3. Really what we want in here is actually our we want to include our stream field. So to do that, we'll do it inside I'm just going to make an empty div because we'll probably wrap that in something, but we want to do include block and choose page.body. So page is referencing self. And now if we save and go back here, we should actually kind of see this thing here. Interesting. So we have the picture, we have the name, we have some text, there's some looks like some HRs here, something like that. So where's that actually coming from? So if I go into my common folder, which is where I've put all my blocks, that's inside common and blocks. So we have templates and then a folder called blocks, and we have block person. You can see that we are taking this is basically a block for each person that we were to include. So we check if there is an image, put that image. And this is that Wagtail image thing that allows you to say, okay, I want an image at this width, 128. And because I'm just saying width, it's just going to scale the height automatically, keeping the aspect ratio. But there's a lot of other parameters here that we'll see. And then we just have an H3 with their first name and last name. And we take their bio and pass in this filter of rich text so that stuff gets rich. And you can kind of see, maybe not very well because of the stream quality, but this should be wrapped in a bold tag. Yep, there we go. Awesome. All right, so what other blocks could we have? Well, we're gonna make some more for sure, but Wagtail does have some built-in blocks. Let's go back to our flex model so that we can, our flex page model right here. And let's just see what other kind of blocks we could have. If I go to Wagtail built-in blocks, let's just see. So they have something called an image chooser block, which is something we could just make use of. There's also like char blocks, rich text blocks, all that kind of fun stuff. Wagtail.core import blocks. But I think it's more fun just to make our own blocks and then and work with those. So let's go to our blocks.py. I'm going to keep the person block. We will eventually remove it. It's telling me to make a quote block. Cool. So what might we want? I'm going to make a image. We're just going to make an image block. Oh my goodness. This if you haven't seen my video about GitHub's Copilot, definitely check it out because it never ceases to amaze me. Cool. So when we create a block, we give it a name, class name, and we want to inherit blocks.struct block. That's just the built-in Wagtail kind of like base model. And we're going to use an image chooser block. And yeah, we want our images to have a caption, but maybe we don't make it required. And then we need to define what template to use. So here we would go here and in here, and we make a new one, and we're going to call it block image.html. And for now, let's just make an image tag, and its source will be, we'll figure that out in a bit. But I'm just going to do that for now. We will save this, and we will go here, and we will add another one. Now, rather than, because we might do this in multiple places, rather than kind of putting in all these, basically this right here, I'm going to make a constant in this file, and it's going to be called default blocks, and we'll just make it equal to that for now and save so it formats nicer. And I am going to my image block and call this image. And let's save. Now the problem is the order of this actually needs to come after, so let's just put it at the very bottom. There we go. And if we go here, instead of putting this, let's just put default blocks, and we can go from common.blocks import default blocks. And that will be the array of tuples already figured out. We forgot a comma, so let's get a comma in there. And something got missed. Something's wrong here. What is this not an array? Oh, yeah, no, this should, wait, what? Tuple not set name. Okay, the issue is I have a trailing comma here, which is making it want to be a tuple. If I get rid of that, it's then just an array and everything is great. My mistake. Okay, so now if we were to go back to here and edit this page, and of course I got logged out again. I think it's happening when there's some kind of error. That's fine. So now you'll see if we, the stream feels really cool because I can decide I can add something before this or I can add something after. I'm going to add something after. And now you'll see that we have more than one choice, image, for instance. So let's choose an image, and I'm going to just upload an image. And let's take our lovely friendship. You can name your thing here. You can give it tags, all that kind of stuff, but we'll just keep it blank. And we're uploading this. it is being slower than I'd expect. And we can give it a caption called Hello World. And so yeah, we can preview things, which is pretty sweet. I can just click preview and you'll see it. Now, we're not seeing it there, and there's a very good reason for that, which we'll get into in a minute. But let's just publish it. And we can from here view this page just by going view live. Boom. Now, the reason nothing is showing up is because we just did this right now. So what we want to do is so what we can do, there's a few ways to work with images, and the way I usually like it is this way. So we go image, that's just a tag saying we want to make an image, and we use self when we're in this template to talk about the block that we're in. So in this case, image block, we do self.image. Then we can sort of go width. If we want it to always resize to a certain width, we could, which I'll just do 1000 or something. It's gonna be big, but that's fine. And then we can say as image, so that in here we can actually do things like image.url. We could, give it an alt tag of image.title, that kind of stuff. And then if we save and refresh, we do have an error, and that's because if we want to use image, we do have to load that template tag. So it's load Wagtail core tags and Wagtail images tags. I don't know if we actually need the first one, but I usually just include both if I'm doing template that's Wagtail specific. And we'll refresh. It will be might be a little bit slow on the first attempt, and that's because it's actually generating that image at that size, which I'll show you if it works. There we go. And we have this image here, and it looks good. So let's just inspect this and see what this looks like. Let me hopefully zoom it enough. So you'll see that a couple of cool things happening here. First of all, I'm using Django storages with an S3. So anything uploaded to Wagtail is being put on my bucket here, which is just this bucket name. It's actually on the CA Central, Canada Central one, which is fun. And it's going into a folder called /images, which I never made that folder. Wagtail did that. And then it's actually friendship dot, and then sort of that rendition key, which because it's with 1000, that's what it is. And you'll notice the second time it should be pretty fast. Like that loaded really fast. If we were to, for instance, say in our image tags, we actually want them always to be, 512. We should see that this will be a little bit slower on the first load. And that's globally slower on the globally first load. So it's not like every user that comes, it's just the first time anyone, and that will usually be an admin who just, created the content. You'll see it was a little bit slower, and then it's pretty much instant because it's already created this one. Sweet. So we have that there. We have our image tag. Now there might be a caption. I like this convention. I usually put in any of my blocks, give it a class of block. I think, is that what you do? Oh, wait. Nope, I'm wrong. I don't do that because Wagtail automatically uses your block name, block dash, whatever the name of the block is. And this allows us to style things very specifically. So let's just do that. And what I have is, and we haven't looked at any of this yet, but I have also some SCSS. And I have a folder called blocks, and I like to create a new thing. So this would be block_image.scss. And then we can go, and this was inside.block image. And then we can say we want maybe the image to always be 100% wide. So that's pretty cool. That means we're only styling images in this block, keeps the scope nice. And of course, I need to import block image here. Now I'm not running my my Webpack stuff right now, so I'm going to make one more tab, and it is, I have a make file. What is my command? Maybe it's in my README. npm run, and if I go to my package.json, what do I have? I have watch. So first of all, let's just do a build because we did make a change. That's going to compile all my my lovely stuff. And if we go here, put watch, just so if we make future changes, they will happen. And we go refresh, we see it's now width 100%. And if I was to change that to, with 50% and save, because I have this watcher running, you'll see it automatically goes. And if I refresh, boom, done. But we'll keep it like that. The other thing our block has is a caption. So I can go image.caption. Hey, look at that. I'm not even writing code anymore. And we'll see that there it is. Oh, we missed a closing thing, or slash the AI missed a closing thing. And it is right there. I wonder why did we not put a caption? Oh, sorry, I did image.caption. I did, slash the AI did. We want to do self.caption. There we go, it's right there. Now, what would happen if, for instance, in our, where we're in here, in our home, what if we left this blank? Because it is allowed to be blank. We said required false. We're going to see, oh, nothing came up. Oh, maybe something updated in Wagtail. It used to be it would just say none because it's null. So I guess Wagtail kind of updated something. So sometimes you'd want to wrap. Now, okay, there is a reason we want to do this. You will see that there is an empty p tag here, which we don't really want. So we can, and this is just a Django thing, not anything else. We can go if self.caption. That way, this whole thing will only render when there's a caption, and we won't have that extra little bit of space here, or empty paragraph tag. Okay, so that's an image block. That's pretty straightforward. What other blocks could we care about? I mean, we could definitely make this block a lot better. Have some things like alignment and size and that kind of stuff. But this is working fairly fine. Let's get rid of person block now that we have at least a working example. So I'm gonna, because we're never gonna use that on this site, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go to my app.css and remove this because I am getting an SCSS error because I can't find that file anymore. We're going to go to our blocks, common templates, blocks, and let's get rid of this file, block person. And inside our actual blocks, we're going to delete block person, and we need to remove it from here and click save. And we are going to, oh, where else was person block from? Oh, I have another page that's using that. So let's just get rid of that there. And there we go. So that's gone. Now, if we go back to our editor here and edit this page, and there we go. I will solve that at some point. Yep, everything's good. It automatically erased that content because it no longer could exist. So we are in a good spot. Now, I think at this point, we should just make some migrations. Manage.py, make migrations to remove that model. You're trying to change the null body on flexible non-nullable default. Interesting. Why? Oh, right. Because when I was playing around with why we had that issue before, we removed this. So let's run that again and migrate. There you have it. Now we just cleaned up a bit, got rid of some stuff in our database that we don't need, and everything is groovy. Okay, what are some other necessary blocks? I think our site will need is like a call to action. Sometimes you might want to have image and text and, something like check out my latest videos or whatever. So we're going to make that. I like to keep these alphabetical. So we'll call this a CTA block like that. And it's going to inherit blocks.struct block. String block, no, struct block. We're going to give it a title, and it's going to use this is where we're going to use some built-in blocks within our block. So title is going to be blocks.char block. We want to have some body text, and it will be blocks.rich text block. And I am going to not make it required. And on the data, I don't think I need that. What else do we do? We want to have an image. Hey, it's just doing it for us, and that will also be optional. And then we're going to want the link to possibly go to a page within our site, or maybe an external URL, or maybe even a document. So we can use page by doing blocks.pageChooserBlock, and we're going to do required equals false. We can also allow a document, and that will be actually a document chooser block, and that comes from wagtail.documents. Look at that. It's making us have a good time here. Document chooser block, also required equals false. What else? External URL, and that's going to be just a blocks.url block, required false. And we're going to have a label of like the button, and it'll be just a char block, and we're going to make it required, but we're going to set default equals, and maybe it's just like continue or something. Okay, then I think we're also going to want, because when you do these CTAs, I'm picturing it like there's an image on the left and there's text on the right, but let's have a alignment block where we kind of can have some different choices, which I'll do in a moment, and it's going to have a default. So let's see, alignment. I like, for this alignment stuff, because we'll probably use it in multiple things, I'm going to create something that we can use, and I'm going to go to our common, and in here, let's just make a new file. I'm going to call it enums.py, and we are going to make a class, and it's going to be called alignment, and it's going to extend models.text choices. Okay. So for models, we need to import Django.db import models. So this is not a Wagtail specific thing. This is just Django. And we're going to have left, and we have to give it a key, how it's kind of stored in memory / the database, and then also the presentation of it. So we can have left, and I'm going to have right. Hey, look at that. I'm going to have center. No commas, it's an enum, and let's do justify. So we can use this alignment for different things. So there we go. Then back over here, let's go from common.enums import. What was it called again? Alignment. Okay. So now we can just keep that there. And we want to make our choices essentially an array of those enums, but I don't actually want them all. Now this is actually a tuple. So what I want to do is actually choose alignment.left .value as sort of the key, and then alignment.left label. That's how, when you're working with the model text choices, this is the value, this is the label. Okay, and then I can just copy this essentially and paste it again. And we'll just change this to say right. So I don't want, for this kind of alignment, I don't want to have justify and center. Or do I want, maybe center would be good. Yeah, let's also have center. So let's just do this, paste, and hopefully black takes over and makes this look prettier for us. It doesn't, because we need to let's just erase this. I want this to be formatted nicer. Okay, awesome. Now default, we're just going to use alignment.left as the default. And we don't actually need to do the value and whatever, we just say that's going to be our default value. Okay, like we could, we didn't actually have to do it this way. We could have just wrote alignment.left, alignment.right, but then it wouldn't capture that presentation side. And basically in the admin, I don't want to see it like lowercase. I want to see it all nice and pretty. Okay, so we have alignment now. Anything else we need? I don't think that. And I'm going to call this button label, just so it's really obvious what that is. So let's make our meta class, and this is where we can define things like the template, which will be block CTA. We call it block underscore CTA.html. Let's make that file. Blocks, new file, block CTA.html. I am a CTA block. That's great. So we can do that. Now there's a couple other configuration things we can do. For instance, we could give it a label. This would automatically be called CTA block, I believe, but let's just call it CTA. And we can also choose an icon. And basically the way, it's not like Font Awesome or Material Icons, or whatever. They have their own icons. And I can go into this style guide here that's part of Wagtail. And of course, I got signed out again. My apologies. There's just kind of like a style guide of their colors and stuff, but at the very bottom, we have their icons. So I can look for icon that, I might want to use here. And I think for CTA, a link is kind of a really good icon. And did we do an icon for this? Okay, yeah, we did have an icon. We used image for here, which makes sense. Okay, so now we have this block. Now, if we go to the bottom here, let's also include CTA. We'll just call it CTA, and then we want CTA block. Now this will require a database migration. So let's, sorry, it won't. Yeah, it will, because we're already importing this over in our Flex page. There will be a database migration. So let's do that. Python manage.py make migrations. And it's just altering the body because it's allowing different things now. And we'll run migrate. And hopefully everything worked as expected. Okay, great. Let's go back here. Let's edit our page. And yep. I wonder if it's happening when I do migrations. I am using a just a local database, like literally just SQL light local database. It's just like super easy to set up. So can I do that? I don't usually use that, but it's really quick. Okay, so if we go here, we should see CTA, and we can say, check out my cool stuff. And we could write some text here, which I will do with lorem ipsum. And maybe we decide to bold this. Cool. And then we can choose an image, and let's just use that image. And then we can choose, we have this page chooser, document chooser, external URL. Let's choose a page, and let's just, because we only have one page, I'll just make this go to google.com. And button label, we can update to say something else, but continue is great. And alignment, left, right, center. Let us publish that. And let's look at it. And, it just says I am a CTA block, because that's all we have in the template right now. Okay, now for this CTA block, we don't really want to do that. First of all, we want to load a few different things. We want to definitely load the Wagtail core tags and Wagtail images tags so that we can do stuff with images. Now I am using Bootstrap, which is, I love Bootstrap. There's other things I love too, but Bootstrap's one of them. So I am going to use a container. So it's kind of like the wrapper. And what we're going to use is just use this py1. That'll just kind of add a bit of padding on the top and bottom on the y-axis of one, not 1 pixel, but one sort of like size, which is something you can configure in Bootstrap. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to create a row. Hey, it's giving me that. And I want my row to essentially, I'm going to use align items center on it so that things get aligned horizontally. That's just a flexbox sort of thing. And then, yeah, we'll kind of take that, except I'm only for now going to worry about column 12. This will always be a, let's do column 6 for now, because this is where our image is going to go. And first of all, we should, I'm going to wrap this whole column in something called if self.image, because technically the image is not required. And if, and then we're going to go and say image self.image. And this is where we're going to use something called fill. And I'm going to do 512 by 512. So this will actually, no matter what my image size is, it could be like really wide, it could be really tall. It's going to crop it to 512 by 512 and use that focus point that we looked at before. And let's cast this into a variable called image. image src equals image.url, and then we'll give it some alt text, image.alt, which is something you can configure when you upload the image. Okay, so let's save that and just come back here. And hopefully, there we go. And you notice it was a little bit slow the first time. That's because it was generating this image of that size. So now that we have this kind of in a cool way, let's just play around with this focal point thing I was talking about. And we can actually just go to the raw image that we have. Imagine I put the focal point down here. This is the most important part of the photo. Save. Now this load will be a little bit slow because it's going to have to fully generate a new image. But you'll see now it actually made sure that that corner was in focus when it did its size. Now, naturally, that's not what I want. I definitely want to use, this is to me the most important part of this image. So let's make sure that goes. But that's pretty cool, right? It was smart enough, or we were smart enough to give it, this configuration of going there, and Wagtail was smart enough to crop it accordingly. Okay, so we have that. That's good. Then after this column, let's make another column 6, and let's do let's keep it simple. So first of all, let's check to make sure. Let's put I think an H2 makes sense here, and look, self.title, it already went. So we'll just save that and see how things look. So there we go. Check out my cool stuff, and it is centered vertically, and that's just because we have this align item center, which is really nice. And then let's was title required? I think it is. Let's just go. I know I could look at the code to do this, but I can also look here. Title is required, so I'm not going to even wrap it in an if statement. But body, for instance, if self.body, let's wrap that so that we don't just get an empty tag. So that'll just be in a lovely p tag. And I don't actually want to do self.body because it will do some weird things. Because it's a rich text block. Now, it happened to work fine. Actually, maybe we are fine. Yeah, it did do the bold tags. Okay, so I'm good with just doing self.body. I think there's just been some slight updates in Wagtail since I've used it last. So we'll just go with that. Okay, then so still within this column, but we definitely want to have that button, right? So look, it's already telling us to do things. Self.link, but this is actually going to be self. That external URL. So external, I think that's what we called it, and then self.button label. It was pretty close. And it even did some like bootstrappy stuff. I don't actually want the block part of it, but we're gonna do that. That looks cool. That's pretty sweet. Now that will, because it's an external URL, I generally will want it to open in a new tab so people don't like fully leave my site. And if we click this, we should see that it brought us to Google. Now that's all in good, but what about if we chose one of those other options? So what we can do is, first of all, let's wrap this if self.external URL and go end if. That way that button only shows up. Now, I wouldn't want to just, I'll show you, I could do it this way. I could say, okay, now what were the other types we had? We had a page. So with page, if self.page, we can go self.page. Now page is an object, it's not just a field, so we actually do page.url. And because it's my internal page, I don't want this to be a target blank, and we can still keep that same button label. And then let's just do self.document. And this works the same way as a page, except it's document.url. So if we refresh that, now we don't have those other ones set, so it's working exactly the same. But over here, let's choose a page, and we'll just choose this Hello World page. And then let's choose a document. I don't have any documents yet. Let me try and find something random. 2 scoops of Django, 3.pdf. It's perfect. 2 scoops. Oops, I guess it somehow lost my file when I did that. So let's upload that. It's uploading. I guess this is a big document. Also, like, this is just my local site. I'm not really Django peeps, Django girls. I'm not really like uploading this to my real site right now. I think it might have been too large of a file. Good parts of AWS. I think something weird's happening. Choose document. Let's just try this again from scratch. 4.3 megabytes. AWS. Don't worry, I'm not leaking these. This is only accessible on localhost. I'm going to open my inspector here and see if any weird stuff's happening. Okay, there appears to be a problem with my document uploading. So I'm going to ignore that for now. And let's just publish. So I've set a page and a external URL. Now what's going to happen? Well, we're going to have two buttons. And that's not good. So we have to determine a way, because I'm allowing all three of these sort of things here. Oops, wrong thing. And you'll see this first one should be the external URL, google.com. This should go to that page, which doesn't actually exist anymore within my site. So how can we deal with that? Now, a couple ways. We could in here have a chooser block of like what type of URL to use. But since I'm building this for myself, I prefer just kind of thinking of things in a, which one overrides. And we can just do that instead of saying if this, and having the ends. I'm just going to get rid of that end if, and do elif here. So meaning if there's an external URL, do this and get the heck out. Otherwise, check to see if there's a page. Otherwise, get out. And then do that. Now I did get a reset from peer here. I imagine that means I'm logged out. But let's just go back to our front end, which doesn't require login. And we should see there's just one button and it's taking my google.com. And if I was to, and I know I'm logged out now, I just happen to know it. I think it's something with Redis now that I think about it. And if I was to remove this external URL, for instance, and publish, we would actually see that this button now goes to my internal site, localhost/none, because that page is broken. But cool. Oops. Let's go back here and let's put back in google.com and let's just clear this choice and clear the document. So now it will only ever show one button. Okay. We got a caption, we got this thing. Now let's make this block a little more powerful. Right now we have this alignment thing here. I'm going to make alignment right and see what happens. Well, nothing, because we haven't really done anything to allow that. So there's many ways we could do this. Because we're using Bootstrap, though, it's actually pretty simple. So Bootstrap has this idea of ordering that you can do. So obviously, by default, the order would be it's going to do this, and then it's going to put this next to it, assuming there's enough room, and Bootstrap is out of 12. So when you have two 6s beside each other, it works just fine. So what I can do, though, inside this class is actually write an if statement. I can say %% if self.alignment is equal to right, we can actually pass in order 1. And if, okay. And I'm going to copy this because we're going to make the same. And actually, I'm going to put spaces between here just so that if things get stuck next to each other, we always know that the class name will be valid. Similarly here, I'm going to do this, except instead make this order 0. So it starts at 0, 0, 1. So basically, if we've changed the alignment to right, these should get reordered. And there you go. This stuff is here, that stuff is there. Awesome. Now, one other little thing, on mobile, this is not going to necessarily look great, and that's because, a couple of things. First of all, we should make sure our image in this block does a width of 100%. I could just go width equals 100% here, all dandy, and that will make it fill its space. It wasn't a problem on desktop, but as we resized, it started to look weird. So I could do it that way, or ideally, we're actually going to do that in CSS. So let's make our block. We already have, oh no, we don't. Block cta.scss, and we can go block CTA, and that is class block CTA. And within here, image width 100%. We'll save that. We will get rid of this. And we need to make sure we include that file, block CTA. CTA comes before I, C becomes C before I. Okay, so now if we refresh, and in theory, yeah, we still have that. That's being applied to it. Everything's good. So what I was getting at is mobile. This doesn't look great to me. I want these CTAs to kind of like be flowing down. So we can solve that pretty easily too. So we're doing column 6. But what I'm actually going to do is let's do call 12, and we'll do call MD6. So that just means they're going to take up all 12 grid columns by default, but on medium size and up, we'll go to 6. So that's pretty cool. And it actually, if I change this back to, I keep going to the wrong one. I should just delete this page. I'm deleting this page. Oh my gosh, delete page. Let's delete, edit. Let me just change this back to left alignment because you'll see it actually is going to look fairly good. So we got our image, then we have our text, then we have, then we have this stuff here. But when I change it back to right, and let's just use the preview version of this, and when we go to mobile, it kind of has the text first, and then the image comes after, and that makes sense. So that ordering thing we did, I actually only want the order to be respected when it is size MD and up. Otherwise, it's just going to go the normal way. And when we do that now, you'll see that it's basically ignoring that rule that I said, but still on desktop, it is going to the right. Okay, awesome. The only other thing is, there could be, especially on mobile, some padding or margin above this. I'm going to do it with this. So we can just go class equals. So I could just give this a MT margin top of maybe like level 2. And that's good, but it will look funny on desktop, on desktop. So we can then go MT MD0. So that shouldn't affect anything there, but here it's still aligned. Now you can't really tell because it gets pushed anyways, but there we go. You'll see that it has a margin top of 0. Important. Okay, so that's one thing. What about what if we had another CTA? So let's just create another one. Another CTA, another thing, and I'm just going to grab, maybe a little bit less text, to the body. Let's choose an image. We'll choose this image. We'll choose, we can choose the page we're on. Nothing's stopping us from that. And make this say go. We did that one as right, so let's keep this one as left. So let's just see how that looks. What did I do? Oh, I went into the preview version of it. Oops. Let's refresh that. Cool. It looks okay on mobile. Let's just see how it looks on desktop. Yeah, it looks fine. Obviously, this design, there's gonna be a lot of work to make stuff look really pretty, but I'm focusing just kind of on content and structure at the moment. Okay, cool. I kind of like the idea of these buttons though being kind of like right aligned, so it lines up with this. So that's really easy to do. We can just put a div right here, wrap everything, and give it a class of text right. And all of a sudden these buttons will be, right aligned, and I think that's totally fine. Okay, the last thing we want to do just to finish up this block and finish up this episode would be to have a center alignment one. So if I change this to center, we got this. And nothing changed because we're not accounting for center, but let's account for it. So how can we do that? Well, we could, okay, yeah, a couple things we could do. So when we're center aligning, it means I want the image to kind of be full width and, the text to be, like centered and above and all that kind of stuff. So we could just wrap this column MD thing in if self.alignment does not equal center, just so that everything's good. And I'm just going to copy this whole thing and bring it to here. So now it'll always be column 12, meaning it goes like that. Now, that's not really the best thing in the world, but it's getting the point across. Then let's make sure that this text right. What we could do is we could make this, actually, yeah, we could do our whole thing, this whole column could be in text center. So let's grab this guy here. Now this starts to get a little bit, when you have a lot of classes, and the cool thing with HTML is you can make new line characters and nothing bad happens. So let's just kind of break these into their own little worlds here. So I'm just going to do, if it equals center, we can do text center. And keep that there. Yeah, nothing's stopping us from doing that in HTML. It ignores new line characters, so we can keep it organized. So then we get our text nice and centered. Everything looks fairly good there. Now we probably, we might decide we could decide, well, let's see how it looks in mobile. Yeah, that looks totally fine in mobile. So I think we're good. We could decide, yeah, actually we want the image to be above or below or that kind of thing, but I think this is totally fine. I might not ever use that one, and if I do, I'd probably want to adjust some things. For instance, also we had, where was this? Yeah, we have this MT2. We probably want to have some margin between these kinds of things. So we could, when it's text center, we could actually just do PY2 here. So anytime it's text centered, we got a little bit of padding in this column. That looks fine to me. And I'm just saying it looks fine. It's obviously not beautiful. This image probably shouldn't be width of 100%. Let's actually go to our block.cta and let's just do, can you do max width 100%? I think you can. Let's just make sure. Yeah, you can. Okay, great. So max width 100% is nice. That way this thing doesn't go crazy. And then in here, whenever we're doing the, let's also kind of fix this so it looks a little bit cleaner. Because it gets really, really difficult. And let's do, if it is equal to center, we can also do the text center here. So that gets center aligned. Now we have this same line twice on both columns. So to me, this would make sense to actually move, if the alignment is whatever, we should be able to just move this to the row itself. So let's try getting rid of these, but we will still need this here for the PY2. And I can get rid of, no, I can't, I already got rid of that, so we're good. Just want this, I like to kind of keep these indentations nice. So we still have our center, everything looks great. It's a little bit more dry. Okay, that's it for now. I will catch you at the next one.